हर खबर पर होगी आपकी पकड़। डाउनलोड कीजिए एबीपी लाइव ऐप।
Thank you very much coming over in this sudden unexpected rains. I've come here to explain a few things regarding the Yes Bank matter. Some of the issues which I would like to elaborate much before, of course, we get a picture is it's not that the Yes Bank matter has come up just yesterday or today. I'd like to place it on record that since 2017, the Reserve Bank has been continuously, closely monitoring. And I can speak for May 2019 onwards, where I have been directly involved in also closely working together with the Reserve Bank on this matter. So let me assure people that the government has, together with the Reserve Bank, continuously monitoring this matter. And also, I'm sure the regulator, RBI, will be talking on many things which are specific to him as a regulator. But when I say that we have been together with the RBI closely monitoring, the major milestones are something which all of you all probably already know, that since 2017, the Reserve Bank closely started monitoring and scrutinizing the Yes Bank. And noticed that the governance issues were of serious concern, that there was definitely weak compliance, and the culture itself was of weak compliance. And then there were also wrong asset classifications together with risky credit decisions. Since RBI started getting clear indication on all these grounds, they clearly took some concrete steps, which we have also been kept informed about. And as you all know, since 2004, when Yes Bank was founded, it has been under the same management from 2004, that after RBI scrutiny and identifying the culture of weak compliance, poor governance, and very risky credit issuing habits, in September 2018, they clearly said that the leadership has to change. They did not allow the further continuation of the chief executive's term from after September 18. So these are specifically steps which the RBI has been taking with an intention of keeping the bank healthy and ensuring that where and as and when they found certain things, they would do a correction course. A new CEO was appointed in September 2018 as a result. Also, the cleaning up of the bank commenced from then. A lot more information started coming in, and the Reserve Bank also started looking at newer issues, newer challenges which were getting noticed as they started the scrutiny. And the promoter who was asked to let go his shares had asked for more time. RBI was not willing to give, and as a result, he had to be compelled to let go his shares too. In the meanwhile, investigative agencies also saw malpractices of some of their chairmen and of that order people, and that is why one of their top executives, CBI, came into picture and started taking action. He even resigned, maybe quoting some other reason, but then he resigned clearly after the action was initiated. And in March 2019, the new CEO who was appointed started intensively working together with RBI so that the health of the bank is restored. RBI did not stop at that. We were kept informed. A 1 crore of rupees fine was levied on this bank as early as March 2019. 2017, the intense scrutiny starts. 18, you clearly identify and don't allow the leadership to continue. 19, 1 crore of rupees was even levied as fine, and that is early 19, sometime March 2019. And then SEBI also starts the investigation from September 2019. And that allegation at that time, I don't know if there are many more which are getting added, but at that time it was on insider trading related matters. Then in May again, there was another set of fine imposed by Reserve Bank because of non-compliance related matters. And a former deputy governor of RBI was appointed onto the board of Yes Bank as a director. In June 19, again another set of fines were levied, saying, no, it is not happening, you don't seem to be having a good compliance culture, here we go, another fine. A chief financial officer was also newly appointed. And it was only in September 19 that you had a complete giving away of the shares. I mean, stake was completely sold of the earlier promoter. All this while, there was also this promise being given saying we are getting more money from here, we are getting new equity here, somebody coming from Hong Kong is giving us money, and very genuinely attempts were made to get new equity infusion done into the bank. Genuinely a lot of attempts were made, but nothing materialized. Period after period, the RBI was also informing us that they've given them more time so that they can get fresh equity, fresh infusion of cash, so that the bank's health can be restored. And every time you had to give them the space and margin, because after all, if there is a genuine attempt being done, let them get it. But it didn't happen at all. As a result, it went on like that. And once in November 19, it was very clear that no longer there was hope for them to get any more money. And coincidentally, the chairman of the audit committee also resigned early January 2020. Things came to a serious pass. And that is when I think we intensely engaged, as we were continuing the engagement, a lot of other ideas with which we were talking with the RBI was talking with the management. I've asked the RBI now actually to go into assessing what actually has caused these difficulties for the Yes Bank. I've asked him to find out and assess as to where the problem, the causative problem lies. And also clearly identify the role played by various individuals in the problem, in creating the problem and not so comprehensively addressing the problem. And I've also asked the RBI to tell me about adequacy of the extant regulatory norms, also the supervisory norms, and if found inadequate, where and why. I have asked them for a report on this. And I've also asked the RBI to act so that the due process of law takes its course with a sense of urgency. Whilst the government, our government is completely committed to ensure that the depositor's interest is completely safeguarded, equally, I want the RBI to ensure that due process of law is set to roll with a sense of urgency so that we should find out as to who led to this problem, a problem of this size and magnitude in the Yes Bank. The steps, of course, which are taken by RBI as it is are several. I'll just narrate. Yesterday, on their request, we've given the clearance for bringing a moratorium onto the bank, which is for the next 30 days. The withdrawal limit has been capped. Supersession of the management, meaning the bank's board. Then an appointment of a administrator who happens to be a former chief finance officer of the State Bank of India. And then, even as we speak, they have put in a scheme for restructuring the bank. Already the RBI's website should be having it, and that scheme will be effected within the period of the moratorium, which means within 30 days, we expect that scheme to fully come into play so that depositors are not troubled for too long. As it is, I understand they are putting through a rigorous pain when a moratorium comes into play, but RBI has assured me that the restructuring plan, which is up now in RBI's website, will come into play within the moratorium period, within 30 days, that is, so that customers are not, or depositors are not going to be troubled. SBI has expressed a willingness to invest, to definitely invest in the Yes Bank. And the bank shall also invest in the equity of the reconstruction process, which is required, the equity which is required for the reconstruction process. In the administrator's place, when the restructuring happens, a new board will be brought to place. So the administrator does his job and he exits, and then a complete new board will be put in place. This is important. Deposits and liabilities will continue unaffected as before. I know there is this temporary capping, but we shall continue every deposit and the liability unaffected, which means it will be honored. Important again, employment and salary assured at least for 1 year. I've just given you some of the highlights of this scheme which the RBI has put up in its website. You're welcome to have a look at it. But if you very clearly look at the Yes Bank's problems, I would like to recollect the steps that I've been talking about. The bank was monitored very closely from 2017. The MD and CEO have been forced to leave as of September 18. RBI has appointed one of its former deputy governors onto the board of Yes Bank as a director. Then several enforcement actions have been taken up. One of the chairman himself had to come out because of the action by CBI. Regulatory violations, the guidelines have been violated, have been picked up, and fines have been levied. The bank was instructed to raise capital in a time-bound manner, for which the RBI gave 3 tranches of time. Each time a genuine attempt was made to bring in more capital, but each time it failed. As a result, nothing could go on. Particularly in the last 6 months, day-to-day monitoring has been kept up. I remember, and I'm sure many of you all will recollect, that I have repeatedly said I shall not allow any institution to fall off the cliff. I do now remember that I had said this in the context of NBFCs, but we also have been closely monitoring banking institutions and shadow banking institutions. For the last 6 months, the monitoring has been almost on an everyday basis. I would like to tell you that. And one indication, not so much to speak of or not so much to take names, but it is important for the media to also know the exposure of Yes Bank to some of the very stressed corporates has been since before 2014. Since before 2014. I wouldn't even mind taking their names because obviously these are public domain information. I'm not violating anybody, any customer's privacy. Anil Ambani Group, SL Group, DHFL, IL&FS, Vodafone are some of those very stressed corporate to whom Yes Bank has been exposed. And this is from prior to 2014. Now, if I say all this, why do I say it here? I see the opposition being very keen to point a finger at us. I'm not here to continue carrying the stories of legacy. Legacy, yes, the Indian banking system has had severe challenges thanks to the way in which the government which existed between 2004 and 14 had handled the matters the way they handled it. But I'm not saying it because I have to put the blame on them, but I have reasons to put the blame on them. I'll give you even instances. They are telling us about, oh, look at the way you've handled it. Yes Bank is no bank. You don't know how to handle it. Again, the so-called self-appointed competent doctors are saying this. And the so-called self-appointed competent doctors were the ones who handled United Western Bank. Do you all remember? United Western Bank, which collapsed in 2006, almost on the verge of collapse, 2006, forcefully merged with IDBI. And today, if I have problems restoring some good health of IDBI, I'm giving you a pointed example of how competent, self-appointed competent doctors had handled United Western Bank's merger with IDBI. IDBI went down, United Western Bank was anyway challenged, and that is the treatment offered by those who speak today about the way we've ensured that the interest of Yes Bank and its customers are kept safe. We are doing that. Whereas what they did was this. And their solution for a United Western Bank has resulted in IDBI also losing its moorings. So, self-appointed competent doctors. Global Trust Bank. When did that happen? I'm sure you in the media will definitely remember. July 2004. It was merged with Oriental Bank of Commerce. Solution, right? Easily merge it up and wash your hands off. Third, Ganesh Bank of Kurundwad. This was merged with a private bank, Federal Bank. And when did this happen? 2006 January. And in all three, let me ask, you immediately merged and washed your hands off. How many people did they take action on? How many people did they bring to books to say these were the reasons for which these banks faced challenge? And here are we having them quickly jump to see and say, oh, no, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know how you're handling economic affairs. We are ensuring the customers' interests are intact. We are ensuring that the depositors are assured and their monies will be safe. Not like this. Impose and merge it off with some banks, let go those offenders, and now ask uncomfortable questions, uncomfortable for yourselves. I have no problem answering opposition's questions on our handling of the Indian economy. I'll answer every one of it. But our approach has been to make sure that the institutions don't collapse, keep them with good health, and above all, keep the customer's interest, client's interest, business's interest, depositors' interest safe. And that is why, Prime Minister insisted that we increase the deposit insurance from 1 lakh to 5 lakh. So, I would like you all to kindly take all on the board. We can assure through you once again all the depositors that their money is safe. We shall ensure that very speedily this will be resolved and a restructuring of this bank will happen in the interest of the depositors and the interest of the economy. Thank you.
ABP News, आपको रखे आगे।
मैं शेखर कपूर लेके आ रहा हूं
प्रधानमंत्री सीरीज 2 शनिवार रात 10 बजे।